Well, hi everyone. My name is Charmaine, and I'm the dietitian that helps people reverse type 2 diabetes with plant-based eating. And I'm so excited because we have Gregory here with us, who is a participant in our reversing diabetes system. You can say hi to everyone, Gregory.
Hi everybody, how you doing?
Awesome, awesome. So, Gregory, I would love to hear your story and your diabetes journey and what made you reach out to us to this day.
So start off with, I probably have been diagnosed. I was diagnosed pre-diabetic maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Didn't come to me as such a surprise because both my parents had diabetic and eventually went on insulin. So I always thought it was a hereditary thing. And so when I got diagnosed with it, of course, as my A1C started going up, I do have a doctor, but I see him for other things, and he's not obviously a nutritionist or an endocrinologist. So his answer every time I would see him and do blood work was when it would start creeping up, he was just adding more medication. And I wasn't really too excited about that. I was on the metformin glyburide combination, and I didn't like the side effects and stuff. And I had seen you on TikTok, and I'd been following you for about 6 months before I decided to join the program. It's not that I wasn't skeptical, but I was trying to just, wrap my head around the science behind your message. And so I finally decided to take the jump on it because my last labs in May before I joined the program were at 7.1, and it just keeps going up and up and up. And I hate needles. I don't want to go on insulin and do exactly what my parents did. And I didn't like the side effects anymore, and I just wanted to feel better all around. And so I was like, okay, what's the worst that can happen? I can try it and see, what kind of results I get. But I've been shocked by all the other secondary stuff that's come with, my results, which I'll share in a second. So it's okay. And also it made me a little bit homesick because I realized you were from Downey and I grew up in Pico Rivera. And so I was like,
that's so
I'm gonna
close.
try and I'll see, if this works or not. So I got on the program July 5th, and to my amazing shock, within 2 weeks, I was having such low blood sugar episodes because the medicine was too much. That, Cara had recommended, hey, talk to your doctor because you're having too low. And so the doctor agreed. He said, fine, you can get off the medicine. And then when you come in, this is like halfway through the program, I knew I already had my normal lab schedule. He says, we'll reevaluate and rediscuss. I actually had that last week, and I went to go see him yesterday for the results. And he's so actually happy and jazzed with my results. I went down to 6.3.
Wow.
And he said I can stay off the medicine as long as I continue with what I'm doing. He was also surprised I've lost actually 23 pounds without even exercising or trying. And I'm not even finished with the program yet. So he was excited about that. And he actually asked me for your information because he said he's going to start recommending to some of his patients, only because the hardest part for when he does recommend to patients to see a nutritionist is the follow-up they never do. So he said, okay, pass me her information. He was actually kind of shocked. So he's, read some of the science behind it, but it's not really his forte. So he's like, okay, I'll look more into it. And, so I'm actually been excited because I have so much more energy. I'm obviously very happy with the A1C result, losing the weight without even trying. So I've been talking to Cara and to Galia, and I actually am going to try doing some exercise program, because obviously I'd like to lose more weight and, just feel better and this and that. So I've become a believer. I didn't realize that of course, growing up with my parents and, them both being on insulin, I never had anybody to really teach me what you're supposed to eat, and you don't get that in school. So I'd have to say, besides not wanting to stick needles into myself because I hate them, my other motivation for joining your program was I just wanted to have somebody teach me what I'm supposed to be eating, because you get so many conflicting messages about don't eat carbs, eat this, eat that. And I was just confused. I mean, I think I'm eating the most healthiest I've ever eaten in my life. I'm 47, going to be 48 next week. And I'm shocked. And this is actually a program. I thought to myself, the worst that's going to happen is I'll get some results, but I told Cara, I don't know if I can stay on this because I didn't think I was gonna be able to stay on it because I'm gonna have to be eating this for some time, but it's actually sustainable. I want to say in the fact that I think that, I've gotten to the point where I can have, once a week, I can have a piece of chicken or something like that if I really, get caught out, and it's not really affecting me anymore. So my body has made such an adjustment, even to my just my stomach and this and that. So it's all the extra side effects that I've seen that just have made me a believer. So that's a little bit about my story.
I love that. And, while listening to you, I, had goosebumps, and it makes me so emotional because of so many things. I think one is you breaking the cycle, right? Because your family had a history of diabetes, but you can easily say, oh, well, that's going to be me too, so why even bother, right? That you could easily say that, but I think you had the courage to say, you know what, like, let me try this. And you totally changed the course of history. And I think what's really cool is that you're able to show that to your doctor. I think that one is an amazing step too. I think it also makes me emotional because I feel like it hurts my heart whenever people share that they don't feel entirely cared by their doctor, or I know there's a lot of good doctors out there, but I think a lot of times people also felt neglected because all they were given is diabetic medications, right? And no real instructions. Of course, like, that's not doctor's forte in nutrition. However, I think a lot of times it's really cool when doctors actually see the results, they care about the patient's result, and they want to share it to other patients. So I love that. So props to your doctor, even though it may not be his forte, but he was open-minded about that.
Well, and
so
he
that's
was
really cool.
very open-minded, because he says, truthfully, he said, I grew up in the Midwest, and meat and potato type of this and that, and I understand diet, and I get that. He says, and this is kind of the other reason why I decided to join you, just my personal belief. And he said, yeah, unfortunately, most doctors in the US, we fall into this, but when they go through medical school and stuff like that, they're basically taught how to, as you always constantly say, manage the symptoms or throw medicine at it. And I mean, I have hypertension too. So, it was just, throwing medicine at everything. And I'm sitting here, well, geez, am I just going to have to take pills for everything that's wrong with me? No, I mean, I want to try something different. And he's like, yeah, we can tend to do that as doctors because that's kind of how we're taught. But he was actually really impressed to see that, by me doing this, I'm actually, and I told him by the end of the program, or by the next time I see you, I'm supposed to see him in 6 months. My goal is to completely, be hopefully under 5.7, considered not pre-diabetic anymore. And he's like, okay, go for it. You can stay off the medicine and just keep going.
Amazing. And you're not even done with the entire program, but I think it's just being able to see so much results in just, not just with weight or not just with blood sugar, but just your energy. I think that is a big thing for a lot of people because, a lot of times they don't feel energetic or they feel tired all the time and they're missing out on life. When their kids or, family or friends like want to go out, they don't want to, but I just love that you are able to find all these different side effects that you're having. I mean, side benefits that you're having. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, and I guess I didn't really even realize that how I was feeling. I mean, yeah, I was on the medicine, but I didn't realize that the way I was feeling was because I didn't have any energy. Now that I actually feel good, it's like, wow, and I can feel this way without having to take the, metformin to control the blood sugar. So it's just been, I've been a happy camper. So I'm turned into a believer.
I love that. And I know you mentioned one thing because a lot of people, when they see, oh, wow, like this is a plant-based lifestyle, I don't think I can stay on this. I'm just eating rabbit foods, which we all know it's not just rabbit foods, but what would you say helped you change your mind and know that, wow, this is actually sustainable. I can actually see myself doing this for the rest of my life.
So I thought at the beginning, before even really knowing what kind of foods I was going to have to eat and the recipes that you guys share and stuff, I always consider myself a foodie and I love food. I mean, that's why I'm in the position I'm in. And, I was overweight and this and that, and I'm, trying to lose the weight. But one of the things that convinced me about it, that it's actually going to be a sustainable lifestyle. I love Asian food. And so some of the recipes, I've been, creating my noodles and soy protein noodles and stuff like that. My tofu, I love tofu. I'm sitting there cooking all these different, healthy stuff, just realizing that what I need to watch and what I need to, the oils and this and that, the stuff tastes great without the oil. So I'm sitting here thinking, wow, there was all the stuff that was in my food that wasn't even necessary for it to taste good.
Right.
And the other thing I shared with Kara, I was like, the one thing that's really surprising and shocking to me, every meal, I'm actually full. I thought I was going to be always hungry. And that's not the case. I'm actually enjoying this. I'm actually full. I'm having a variety of foods. I love my Mexican food. Obviously
Mm-hmm.
growing up in Southern California, out here I don't get, such as good where I am now. I don't get such great Mexican food, but I'm able to cook stuff like that and make my enchiladas and stuff. I just have to make the tweaks to the recipe to make it, what it's supposed to be, and the stuff still tastes good. So it's doable. I think it's something I'll be able to do for the rest of my life.
I love that. I think that's the key is people being able to see that they can still eat their favorite foods. And I totally understand because, I live very close to where I used to live. And so we have so many different ethnic and
Hmm.
cultural foods that, I consider myself a foodie too because I love like, tasting different foods, like trying different foods. And of course, I'm Asian. So it's a given that I love Asian food and I'm married to a Mexican. So I totally understand. And I feel like it's so important for people to know that they can still have their pozole, they can still have, their sushi, they can still have their ramen, they can still, have their chow mein, like things that they love, but really just making a twist and still, not having to count calories, not having to cut carbs, but really just switching the ingredients, if that makes sense.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
And one of the other things I have to say that I'm really happy with, and one of the reasons, I also did is you guys taught me how to actually read labels. I mean, yeah, I would pay attention before, but now when you actually look what's in, I was always under the guise that, oh, wheat flour is good for you type thing, when not really realizing, oh, the many different ways they call it, it's not, it's actually still a processed, type of flour. So now that I'm actually looking at labels and looking actually what I'm, making, it's just I don't know, I feel a lot better about actually choosing the whole ingredients, and it's just made my meals, I mean, they're still just as tasty. So, like I said, even though I'm cutting out certain stuff out of it, the food is still good. So that if anybody's having doubts about trying it, I definitely think it's something you should give it a shot.
Amazing. I love that. And I feel like it does take courage to make a lifestyle change. And what would you say to someone that is kind of just on the fence about changing their lifestyle and reversing diabetes? What would you say to them and what helped you, on this journey, would you say?
Well, like I told you in the beginning of this video, I was, like I said, I had followed you for some time, and my biggest thing I'm kicking myself is I wish I'd done it sooner, because I would have, started feeling better sooner. I would have lost more weight sooner. And it's not really hard. You don't have to put a lot of effort in. You just need to do a little planning, for your meals and stuff. And it's not really hard if you follow the advice. So my advice to anybody is, if you're thinking about it, just give it a shot. It actually really does work. I'm convinced you can definitely get off medication or insulin, because it's happening to me. So I didn't think it was, I came into this not thinking I was going to see these kind of results. So if you're on the fence about it, give it a shot, try it, because the science behind it is actually, it works.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And I hear this saying when they say that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, the second best time is to plant it now. So I love what you just shared there.
Yeah.
One more thing too, how do you feel about the low carb bandwagon that's really big in the diabetes world versus this, high carb, high fiber diet? Like how does that make sense? How does that, because I know you mentioned that you kind of have to like wrap your mind around it.
Well, I did, because, like you said, you hear so many different things about foods. Like you hear keto, and it was like, oh, that makes sense to me, because you're cutting out all the carbs. You're just eating basically, meats and fats and cheese and stuff like that. But you're cutting out the carbs, and you're just doing vegetables and, meat. But if you do the science about it, yes, I'm concerned about the diabetes, but the fat also contributes to the heart problems. That can't be good either. So you hear all the different fad diets, this and that. And I was like, well, and not that I tried keto really, but, I thought, okay, well, if that isn't it, then why does everybody say you stop, eating the carbs? But what really kind of piqued my interest with you is the fact that you said, oh, you can still eat, certain types of carbs. And then of course fruit, and I was like, I can eat fruit, because that's one thing you always hear. Oh, the fructose and the sugars and fruit, it just spikes everything. So I mean, I've been able to eat my pineapple with tahini, cherries, everything like that, and it's just like, wow. I say, if you're definitely on the fence about it, the science behind it, definitely, it works. So
Amazing, amazing. And what What would you say, even with your fasting numbers, I know that's a drastic change too. So what did you used to wake up with and what do you wake up to now?
So I have to be truthful. When my doctor first diagnosed me with prediabetes, he didn't really do a glucose monitor or anything.
Oh,
So
okay.
until I really got maybe into like June of this year, I wasn't really taking my numbers, 3 times a day. I do kind of get what you say about don't overdo the numbers because you'll stress about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I would even ask, like Cara, I would say, hey, why, is my body reacting this way? And she's like, well, your body's just reacting to all the changes in your body. And I was like, okay, so now that I'm actually, testing my blood sugar all the time, I do know it's made a big change because before, obviously, I had my results over the past 2 years, and I showed that to the doctor, and I kind of discussed it with Carr, and I said, hey, this is my A1C, and it kept going up. Obviously, the drastic reduction from 7.1 to down to 6.3, where I get on the border where I could finally eventually be considered, reversed. I was like, that definitely right there should say, hey, okay, the numbers are just a number and it's actually how you feel. And when you see and actually feel the results, I don't know, it kind of gives me goosebumps too, just to think about it and to know that my journey is not even done.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait till, you get under 5.7. And seriously, like this isn't even at the end of our, 12 weeks yet, and you're already seeing amazing results. And I think people underestimate how fast this can be. They think that, oh, like it'll take years to reverse diabetes, but once you really heal your body, it really just takes weeks. So it's amazing to hear that. Is there anything else that you want to leave us with before we wrap this up?
I just want to say, thank you for all the help. I feel like actually now I have, hope. Well, I don't want to say that I lost hope, but I actually have hope that, I can live a long, healthy life. I realize now that it's not necessarily a hereditary thing that I was just going to have to deal with from, both my parents. So I'm happy to know that I can actually focus on other things now and, just keep going with my health and the snowball effect. I actually look forward to getting up and, it's changed an outlook. So not only is it going to affect your health, it'll affect just your outlook in life. So I definitely recommend it, try it, give it a whirl and, see the results for yourself.
I love that. That gave me goosebumps again. I always get goosebumps during those, interviews, but I think what's really cool is that, something that you said, now I actually look forward to waking up. Now I actually look forward to living life. Like I have a different outlook on life. And I think that is just so powerful and that's just worth everything, I think. So thank you so much for sharing, Gregory. I am just so inspired by your story. And for those of you who are wondering what the science is about, you can check out our free training. The link is in the description. And also, if you'd like to work with us, make sure you book a call with us. The link is also in the description below. And I can't wait to help you reverse your diabetes. Have a good day, everyone.